Good evening and welcome to Lessons in Marketing. This is the episode 2 and the continuation of the previous episode. As said, from this episode we would now look into the concepts of marketing. The marketing is half understood when you actually understand the concepts of marketing. To begin with, one of the foremost concepts of understand the marketing is through understanding STP, that is segmenting, targeting and positioning. Segmenting, targeting and positioning is categorization of divisions. Example, segmenting is dividing the whole market into a particular segments and then you target as to how do you actually reach them. Positioning is once probably you reach them, how do you position in their mind is positioning. Now when we're trying to divide these and try to position in the minds, we will now have to go back and check on an organization's perspective as to what do we have and where do we have, when do we have. So these concepts will lead us to a very important concept that's called as the bridge concept also for marketing is 4 P's. The 4 P's are product, price, place and promotion. When you talk about product, price, place and promotion in a quite sequential way that I said, the easiest way to understand these 4 is to understand the 4 C's for it. Now product is very interestingly, now please remember that we are talking about product industries and not service sector. And service sector we will talk about 7 P's a little later. Now 4 P's, when you talk about product, immediately let's look at the C part of it, which is consumers need. Consumers need becomes the product. So hence for an organization's perspective, it is easy to understand as to what is the need of the consumer. And immediately we look at the price part of it. The price, C is cost. So the second P is price and the second C is cost. The cost actually tells us the easiest way to analyze and price the particular product. And hence the price determines or will be determined based on the cost part of it. And then we immediately have place. The place, as usually mistaken, is not about the city, the country and etc. But it's about the C that we talk about, which is convenience. The customer need to be accessed. That means that this product have to be very conveniently available for this person, that is the customer. And hence we relate product, price, place, the P concept to the convenience part of it. Probably you could look at how conveniently is it available. And that's how the place gets decided. How closer do you want to get to the customer? That becomes the convenience part of it too. And the fourth and very important part of it is promotions. The promotions on the C section, the fourth C is communication. So this promotion and communication is about reaching the customer through various words, through various media. How do you want to put it? What could be the punchline that you want to use it? What could be the tagline that you want to use it? Let us take an example of, let's say, a McDonald's burger. Now this burger becomes the product. The price is the price that you would pay to get the product. Could be 150 rupees. And immediately after that, you would talk about the place as to how conveniently is it available. It's very strategic that probably at the distance of every 5 to 6 kilometers, you probably find a McDonald's. So that is the convenience part of it. And then we have promotions where they say it is very, various words. It could be whether it is promotions for the kids, whether it is birthday parties promotions that they do for the kids. And then they come up with various combo package offers and they would like to communicate with the people. So these makes it the part of promotions. So product, price, place and promotion. On another side, you have consumers need, cost, then you have which is the place part of it, which is convenience, and then you have promotions, which is communication. So you understand these 4 aspects in a very, very clear way. 4 P's and 4 C's are mostly to understand the organization's perspective. There was an argument that this does not actually look at the customer. Hence, Dr. Jagdish Sheth, a renowned marketing exponent, spoke about 4 A's. Now this is very interesting to accept the consumer's perspectives, 4 P's and C's as 4 A's. You should also know that there are 4 V's, 4 O's But now let's look at 4 A's to understand the whole concept very, very quickly. Now if you look at product and the other side, the consumer's need, now from the 4 A's aspect, we understand that as acceptability, which means the product is supposed to be accepted in the market. The product is supposed to be accepted by the customer. When we talk about market, it's customer. So the customer needs to accept the particular product. Immediately you look at the product, the next is price. The price part is cost, and the cost when we talk about, we are talking about on this side the affordability. So the moment we talk about affordability, which means what is it convenient for the customer to afford for this particular product, and that becomes the A part of it. Let's look at the third one, which is place, convenience. Here we talk about accessibility. How accessible is this particular product to the customer? So how convenient is it for the person to reach it? So this C explains connecting with A, the whole 3 parts of it. And then let's look at the promotion. The promotion talks about communication. The moment we talk about communication, we immediately talk about the whole aspect about making people aware. So it's called awareness, right? So please remember always, the main intention of marketing is not about selling, but it's about making people aware about a particular product. So we can call it visibility. So it could be promotions connected with communication to talk about the awareness. So these 4 P's, 4 C's and 4 A's make it the whole concept of product industry very, very convenient to understand. And I'm sure that made you all very easy to understand these 4 concepts too. Now let's look at the same for service sector. Service sector is the largest. It is very interesting to see how the service sector is growing. To understand the service sector, the 4 P's is not enough, and so we have to extend it to 7 P's. The 7 P's, in addition to apart from 4 P's, are people, process, physical evidence. People, process and physical evidence. People, why people? You look at the whole of industry of services. Let's say an example of airlines. The air hostess makes it all interesting. And let's look at, probably you can look at restaurants. I think the people there serving you make it all better. I think the people and the kind of care, and hence the 7 P's have 7 C's too. So for the people, we talk about caring. So the C is caring part of it. How caring would they be, and etc. So I think that makes it overall, you feel more like going back to such an industries or restaurant or to an airline, probably because of the experience that you had with those people. And hence, if you look at the same A towards that, we were talking about 7 A's too here. And I've tried to look at the nearest word, which could probably be affinity. About having care through the affinity towards a particular people. So your customers and the people is a connection. And next, let's look at the process part of it. The process is not just one, but it's a wholesome experience of yours. For example, you go to book a ticket of an airline, right from the time you have logged in to the time that you've actually flown and come out of the airport and probably reach, I think you take it as an overall one particular experience. And because the whole experience is one together and a larger one, you need a lot of coordination. And hence, the next process, the C is coordination. And all the coordination gives rise to something, the A part of it, which is arrangements. So we are talking about the A, arrangement, C, coordination, and P as the process. So the process with the coordinated process leads to a certain amount of great arrangements that is required to make sure that the customer gets the same 100% experience right from the beginning till the end. And the last P in the service sector is physical evidence. Now let's take an example of a restaurant. Now everybody asks me saying physical evidence is about a proof. So the moment we are able to see, touch, feel, are we not talking about a particular product? I said yes, it's an interesting thing to understand the physical evidence concept in the services sector. In physical evidence, we look at the restaurant when we go to, for example, a Chinese restaurant. When you order for the noodles and there's a beautiful ambience created for Chinese, I think even music that is played, I think the kind of, you get chopsticks, all of this makes you a wholesome experience. And the proof of the music, ambience, plus the way people serve you makes it altogether a complete experience. And that thing that you're able to feel, see around, makes it the physical evidence. That means it adds to the proof of its existence. So the moment you talk about physical evidence, you talk about the actual products that you see there around to make you feel the whole service absolutely great. So you look at physical evidence, then you're trying to look at the comfort part of it. So, or the comfort is also about making sure that you're very confident. So this physical evidence leads to the confidence that it creates towards your particular product. Now let's take an example of so what did it lead to? It could lead to probably confirmation so you look at physical evidence leads to experiencing all of these. Let's say I gave you an example of Chinese, leads to the confirmation. And this all of the confirmation leads to something else called assurance, which means the customer is very comfortable to come back. Why? Because he is assured that this is the right place, or assurance also can lead to authenticity or authentic experience that we can call it as. I'm sure we would have given reviews calling authentic to probably Italian restaurants or Chinese restaurants, or it could be continental and etc. I think understanding overall, let's just quickly revise the 7 P's. You look at product, price, place, promotion. So you look at the services sector. In addition to these, you talk about people, process, physical evidence. On 7 C's, we look at customers' need. We look at cost for price. We look at the place, which is convenience. We look at communication, which is for promotions. For people, we look at caring. They're supposed to be caring. For immediately the next, we look at the process, for which we're supposed to be coordination. The C becomes coordination. And then we have physical evidence, for which we talk about confirmation. So immediately the A part of it, let's look at it. For the consumer's need, it is supposed to be an acceptable product. A is acceptable product. For cost, it is affordable. For convenience, which is the place part of it, it is supposed to be accessible. And the fourth one, which we talk about communication, it is supposed to be the awareness part of it. And when you look at the same services sector, we look at the people, which is caring, and then affinity. So the people are supposed to be having the feeling of caring. The customers need to be cared, and hence affinity to it. Then we talk about process. The process again talks about coordination. The coordination further talks about the arrangements part of it. So it's to be very well arranged from the beginning till the last of the experience. That is still feedback. And then the last one, we look at the physical evidence. The physical evidence is a confirmation. The confirmation is nothing else but authenticity. We talk about authentication of the whole process of experience, or you can also call it as the assurance of the whole experience. So this overall talk about 4 P's, 7 P's, 4 C's, 7 C's, 4 A's and 7 A's. I'm sure that this as an example or this as a lesson would have definitely helped you to understand this concept in a broader way. For more concepts, let's look at you in the next episode. Thank you and have a great time.